Hi, I'm Jeremy with Medical Missionary Supply, and today we're going to go over a few different kinds of juicers. We're getting ready to do a 60-day juice fast, and there's been a lot of questions about, what kind of juicers are the best to use, how do they compare to other juicers. We have a few here to choose from, and we're just going to take a brief look at them. We're not going to run them all, like, we're not going to juice with every single one. But we're just going to talk about some of the features that these have. First of all, this is your basic citrus juicer. It's, for grapefruit. Or if you take this off, this does lemons and limes for your smaller stuff. This is just an electric version of, they have those hand juicers. It works pretty good if you're doing a lot of stuff. I recommend using one of these. This is a Waring brand, Waring automatic juicer. Basically what it does is when you push down on it, the juice and pulp comes down in here, and there's holes in here, and it just basically goes out to that hole in front. So it's an okay design. The only part I don't like about it is if you get a lot of pulp down in here, it prevents a lot of the juice from, going out into the cup. But it works, it works all right. So I don't know if they have different models that are similar. This is, like I said, it's a Waring brand, which is it's a pretty good brand. They're known for being reliable. So this is just something we use. And yeah, this is just for citrus. This next juicer we have, this is a wheatgrass juicer, and it's a manual hand crank model. It's Back to Basics brand, which is it's a pretty good brand. This is a stainless steel model. You can find cheaper ones on eBay that are aluminum, but we don't like to use aluminum. Basically what this does, this just clamps onto the table. You stick your wheatgrass down. Of course, you don't need instructions how to do that. But you stick your wheatgrass in here, and you just sit here and turn the crank, and your juice comes out here, and then whatever pulp is not getting used comes out here. It's an auger type, which basically, I'll just take this apart for you. So here you have the screen, which the juice comes through and it pushes the rest out. Now this is the auger. Basically what it does is when you turn the crank, you can kind of see how it'll push everything up into the front of the juicer, and it gets smaller as it goes forward, and basically squeezes the grass, which pushes the juice out to the front hole, and the pulp comes out the front. So this is nice to have for wheatgrass. It's also nice that it's hand cranked, so we live out in the mountains and sometimes we lose power, so it's always handy to have something that's manual. Along with this citrus juicer, we have this electric one, but we also have a manual one, so we don't need, if the power does go out, we still have ways to do some juicing. So like I said, this is the Back to Basics brand. You can find these on eBay. That's where I got this one. It was about probably $60 or $70, which can be kind of pricey for some, and the aluminum ones are definitely a lot cheaper. But like I said, we don't like aluminum, and we decided to go ahead and spend the extra money and get a nicer, it's heavy duty, sturdy. So that's the wheatgrass juicer. This next one, this is called a Juiceman, or a Juiceman Junior. You've probably seen these like on infomercials. I think you can get them probably at Walmart. You know, they're not that hard to find. This is a lower end model. I don't remember exactly how much it was. This one was actually given to us, but buying them brand new, I think you can get one for $100 or less. And basically, how this one works is you cut your fruits or vegetables, which this is kind of a small hole, so I don't really like that about this one. But I'll take this apart. This is where your juice comes out when you put the stuff in here, and I'll show you how it works inside, but the juice comes out this side and the pulp comes out this side. So basically how it works is you have this little grinder, you have these little teeth in here, and this thing spins around, and it basically it's kind of like a wood chipper in a way. It grinds the produce, whatever produce you're going to use, and this thing spins and the juice comes out through the screens, and the pulp, since it's heavier, it tends to rise up higher to the top of this, and it'll shoot it out through the output. And then this clamps on. These are kind of cheaper brand, cheaper. You don't really get the higher quality. This, you know, these tend to break. They're kind of a little bit chintzy compared to some of the higher end models, but it is good for, you know, somebody that doesn't juice very much, or somebody that can't afford a good juicer. I guess I'll go ahead and turn it on so you can hear how it sounds. So it's kind of loud, but it does, you know, it will juice stuff. So anyways, we'll go on to the next one. This is similar to the Juice Man. This one is an Omega juicer, and I got this on eBay. Actually, I think it was used like once or twice. But this one is, they have similar ones by Acme, or I think it's actually Waring, the same company that makes this juicer, that makes this one. It's just under a different name. Now this one is similar in the way this one works. It's a little bit different, but it's kind of the same thing. This, of course, is, you know, your little cutting blades, similar to this one, and this is your screen. The only difference between the way this one works and this one is that this doesn't spit the pulp out. The pulp stays inside here. So I guess, you know, they both have their ups and downs, but this one is all contained, so you'll just run this for, you know, I don't know, it depends on how fast you're juicing stuff, but you'll have to take this out and, you know, dump all the pulp out. But the nice thing about this one is that this has a lot more power. This thing, you know, when you start it, it sounds like a rocket motor getting ready to take off. And I originally bought it. It still has kind of a small hole, which, you know, is kind of inconvenient. But the reason why I bought this is we have an herb business, and anybody that makes like tinctures or anything, they know after having let the stuff set for a while, you'll drain the tincture off, and then the herbs still have so much, you know, so much tincture left in them that you know, you try and figure out different ways to get the stuff out. Some people, you know, they'll put it in cheesecloth and they'll squeeze it. I've heard of some people actually using something similar to this, which actually they just put the stuff in there and let it spin, and the spinning action, you know, pulls all the liquid out. The problem I had with this one, the very first time I used it, this thing is so powerful that it actually got off balance a little bit, and it took everything I had to hold it. And the thing was spinning around and shooting, you know, tincture all over the wall and everything, and it was, yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. So, but I'll go ahead and turn this on. You can hear how this sounds. Listen to how it ramps up, and it takes forever to turn off. This thing, it goes a lot faster, and this one has a lot more power. I'm not exactly sure, you know, what the horsepower is on it or anything, but it takes a lot longer to slow down. And like I said, you got to be careful with this thing, because if it gets off balance, you're going to have fun trying to control it. And like I said, this is the Omega juicer, and it works good, but you know, it's just not for doing tinctures or for, you know, spinning, because if it gets off balance, you know, like I said. This is an older Champion juicer. These ones are more common. They're a couple $100. I'm not exactly sure how much. They have a couple of different screens and stuff. These ones you can do like nut butters, and you can actually make ice cream with it by putting frozen stuff in there. And so this one, it's a pretty nice one. And again, this is kind of similar to the way these ones work, in the fact that they have these little teeth that basically just kind of grind the carrots or whatever you're going to juice through it. And it's got the screen on the bottom. This one's kind of, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it. It does work like it should, but it's just kind of awkward to put together. You know, the pieces fall, and you know, trying to get these screens and everything on. I basically found that if you try putting the screen in like this, and then you try sticking this on, it doesn't, you know, you're going to fight it for about 15-20 minutes. So basically, what you have to do is you kind of have to hold the screen on like this and push it down into shape, and then slide this thing on, and that's, you know, the hole, again, the hole isn't super big, but they have a little funnel here so you can put stuff in. What else can I say about this one? These ones are, you know, they're more common for like lifestyle centers, places where, you know, people do a lot of juicing. Of course, this is what you know, cram stuff down in with. And like I said, these are a couple $100. They virtually run forever. This one's really old. I don't know how old it is, but let's see. It's 1/3 horsepower. I don't know if they have newer models. I haven't been shopping for one of these for a while. I don't know if they operate a little different now, but this is how the older ones were. But this thing is, I don't know, probably 10 years old, it looks like. And it runs just fine. I mean, the motors on these things are designed to last for a long time. So this is a Champion, and this one here is a Green Light. You can see how they're, you know, they look kind of similar in the way they're, you know, they're styled, but they operate completely different. This one, the Green Light, is a little more expensive, but I like this one compared to the other models. Again, it has a funnel for, you know, putting your stuff in. This one, you can actually do wheatgrass with it, and I'll show you why. This is a twin gear. I don't know if you can, yeah, you see twin gear, Green Light juicer. This, again, this one's a little bit older. I don't know if the newer models are exactly the same, but we'll take this off. This is where your pulp comes out. through the front here, and you can adjust, you know, how you can close it off to get, you know, more of the juice out. But you don't want to close it off too much because you'll plug it up, you know, the pulp won't come out the front, and you'll end up, I don't know, burning out the motor or making it seize up or whatever. So this is your screen here on the front, and the juice comes out the bottom right here. I'll take this off. Now this is what makes this different. This is a twin gear. Basically what happens is when you're putting in your fruits and vegetables, it actually squeezes it in between these gears here, which this is the reason why you can do wheatgrass with this one and not with these ones, except for, of course, the manual wheatgrass juicer. So it seems to me that this one tends to squeeze more of the juice out, because the way these things grind together, you're basically, you know, getting every last ounce of juice out of your produce. So this one it's fairly easy to operate. You know, it might take you a couple times to figure out how to put it together until you get used to it. Again, this thing kind of pulls out. So if you're just trying to stick it on there and it's not turning, you know, it's not going into the slot, you have to pull it on it a little bit, and then you can put it in and tighten it. So, anyways, this one is, it's a little more expensive than the Champion, but it's more versatile. You can actually do away with all these ones if you have this one. It is a little more expensive. It has, you know, forward and reverse, which is nice. Well, the motor in this is designed kind of like these. If you just use it like it should be used, you know, it'll run forever. So this is what we normally use for most of our juicing. This is by no means an exhaustive video on all the different kinds of juicers out there. This is just some of the more common brands, and I'd be interested to see other juicers and how they work. You can get into, like, Vitamix has some kind of an attachment that you can juice with that, but I haven't, you know, heard anything about it, how it works or anything. Juicing is, it basically helps you to get more nutrients out of the food, as opposed to just making a smoothie. A smoothie still has all the pulp and everything inside the vegetables. So if you're doing, say you do 10 apples, you're actually eating all 10 apples in a smoothie. In a juicer, you're basically just getting the juice out, and most of the pulp is leaving. So you can actually, in one meal, you can get the nutrition from 30 apples as opposed to 10. And since it's a liquid, your body will assimilate it faster. It'll get to the cells faster through the digestive tract than if you're, you know, eating the whole fruit. One thing I did want to say though, as far as like the citrus goes, I would recommend using one of these, a citrus juicer, for doing the grapefruit and the oranges or lemons, as opposed to using one of these, because what happens is it's a really soft, mushy kind of fruit, and what it'll actually do is it'll kind of sit in there. The pulp won't go through like it should, and so the liquid just kind of sits in there. And if you try, you know, pushing it down in, what's going to happen is it's going to come up the sides here and over the overflow. So I'm just trying to give you guys some tips of, you know, the trials and errors that we've had. So I guess it would be necessary to have a citrus juicer, and you know, if you can't afford one of these, you can get a hand citrus juicer. You can get a wheatgrass juicer. You know, you can even, I wouldn't recommend buying an aluminum one because it does get into the food, and that's not good. And they're kind of, I don't know, they're just kind of cheap. But so anyways, you can get a citrus juicer to do the citrus. You can get the wheatgrass juicer, the manual hand crank one. Like I said, it's good to have one of these anyways, for if you don't have power. That's always nice to have on hand. And then you can get one of the lower end models, like the Juice Man. They also have a Jack LaLanne brand that I've seen. We have a Jack LaLanne Health Master 100, which is basically a knockoff of the Vitamix. I can show you, you know, it's kind of designed the same. It's got a lot of power. They actually have infomercials where they're grinding up cinder block inside the blender here. You know, it kind of looks like a Vitamix. It's got, you know, it's got the plunger. It's got the blades that are, you know, similar in design. They call it the Health Master 100. They boast a 100-year warranty on the motor. The thing that I found with this one, it's not quite as well put together as a Vitamix, but it will blend. I would say it'll blend pretty much like a Vitamix. The problem I had with this one is the electronics in it were not great. Like, you kind of have to, you know, hit it a couple times to get it to go. It's got the variable speed, which is nice, but there was like a little ball bearing or something inside here that basically when you put it on 2 or on 3, it kind of locks it into place. Well, that thing is only being held there by a spring, and after a couple uses, the spring shot out and the ball bearing came out, so now it just moves freely. It's got a pulse function, you know, on and off. The pitcher locks into place here, so it's pretty sturdy. It was only about $100. So compare that to the Vitamix, which is up around $500 to get, you know, the pitcher and the motor. They have a 7-year warranty or a 10-year warranty on the Vitamix. So it depends on what you can afford. And this is a couple years old. I know they have more blenders out now that are similar to the Vitamix and to this one that you can get at Walmart. I haven't used any of them, but this one has worked for us for a couple of years. We've done, you know, flour, and we do our flaxseed and all kinds of different things in this. It does have an overheat shutoff, so if you know you're using a little bit too much, like say if you're doing like peanut butter, or peanuts, making peanut butter, and it gets too bogged down, it will shut off, and when it cools down, it'll start again. So that's kind of a nice feature. Anyways, the reason why I was talking about that is Jack LaLanne. I've seen they have a juicer now that's similar to this one. I haven't looked at all the details about it, but I've seen one at Walmart a couple days ago. But they actually have a bigger hole where they boast you can stick a whole apple in there, which would be nice. You know, you don't have to take the extra steps to cut everything up. But again, I don't know how well it works, so that's another option. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was $100 or $130 or something. So before you do buy a juicer, I would suggest doing a little research online. you can, like I said, there's people that have videos on YouTube that talk about them. They have, you know, videos of juicers that I don't even have here. So it's best just to do your research and find out which one's right for you. If money is an issue, you can probably, you know, go with this one and it'll work just fine. If you're operating a lifestyle center or a place where people are coming to you because their health is not too great, this would probably be the next one in line as far as functionality and price. Like I said, these are a couple $100s, but they work really well and they'll last you a long time. But if you're going to be serious about it, I spend a little bit extra money and get one of the Green Lives. They also have a Green Star is another brand. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I remember there's one that has basically the auger style, you know, like this, where, you know, it just kind of pushes the stuff to the front and squeezes the juice out. It might be a Green Star, might not. I'm not sure. You can find these online. They are around $400, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. I haven't looked in a while. There's a place online where we got like our dehydrators and stuff. I think it's called Vitality Plus. You can do a Google search. I think it's Vitality Plus #1.com or something like that. And they're generally you know, lower cost than some of the other places that I've found. Of course, you're getting brand new equipment. And another thing you can check out is go on eBay, and you can find a used juicer. I know they have Champions. I've seen those on there before. The motors, like I said, the motors are really durable. So even if it's a couple years old, it's still a good investment because it'll still work, you know, for many years unless it was really abused. So anyways, I would say do your research, find out what kind of juicer is right for you, and generally it is our custom to buy the best thing that you can afford, because if you buy one of these guys right here off the bat and you spend $150 or whatever this thing is brand new, and you get it home and you use it 3 times and it breaks, it's not really worth the money. So so I think that basically covers you know, all the information I can give you on these specific types of juicers. So if you go to I don't know if you're on Facebook or anything, but you can, there's a group or a web page, or I don't know what it's called, but 60-day juice fasting or 60-day juice fast, something like that. There's other people on there that have some juicers, and I know one of them is going to be making a video pretty soon on the Hurom. I might not be pronouncing that right, but it's Hurom slow juicer, which from what I looked at, it looks like this, but it operates differently, and I haven't heard any more information about how those work, but that's probably about $400. So until you decide what you're going to do, I would suggest doing research and make a good quality investment. Thank you.